My doorbell rings every night at 2:17 a.m. No one's there, but something always changes in my house. The first time it happened, I thought it was kids, neighborhood troublemakers playing ding-dong ditch at an absurdly late hour. I stumbled out of bed, bleary-eyed and irritated, and checked through the peephole. Nothing but empty porch under the yellow glow of my front light. I opened the door and peered out, expecting to catch pranksters running away, but the street was still, silent. Not even a breeze. I went back to bed thinking it was a fluke, a malfunction, or maybe I dreamed it. It wasn't until morning that I noticed the first change. All the refrigerator magnets had been rearranged into a perfect circle. I stared at it for a full minute, trying to remember if I'd done this myself. I hadn't. The second night, I was already awake at 2:15 a.m., waiting. When the doorbell rang, precisely at 2:17 a.m., I was at the door in seconds. Again, nobody there. Not even footprints in the thin layer of dust on my porch. This time, when I went back inside, I did a full check of the house. Nothing seemed amiss, and I eventually fell back asleep, convinced I was being paranoid. But in the morning, I found all the shoes in my closet had been paired neatly and arranged by color. Every single one, including old boots I'd shoved in the back corner months ago. By the third night, I was unnerved enough to set up my phone to record the front door. I sat in my living room, lights off, waiting. The doorbell rang at exactly 2:17 a.m. I checked the porch, empty as expected, then reviewed the footage immediately. The video showed my front door, utterly still, no visitors, no movement at all. But the doorbell had definitely rung. I'd heard it. And in the morning, I discovered all my books had been reversed on their shelves, the spines facing inward. It's been 23 days now. 23 doorbell rings. 23 empty porches. 23 changes to my home. Some changes were subtle, all the clocks set 3 minutes slow, every pen and pencil in the house arranged from shortest to longest on my desk, the shower curtain hooks reversed. Others were more dramatic, every piece of furniture slightly rotated clockwise, all my framed photos turned to face the wall, all the light bulbs throughout the house swapped so the brightest were in the least used rooms and the dimmest in places I needed light most. I've tried everything. I replaced the doorbell. I cut its power. I disconnected the wiring entirely. Still, at 2:17 a.m., the familiar chime rings through the house. I installed security cameras with night vision and motion sensors. Nothing triggers them, yet the doorbell rings, and changes occur. Last week, I refused to answer it. I stayed in bed, pillow over my head, trying to ignore the sound. The next morning, I found every drawer and cabinet in my kitchen open exactly 2 inches. Just enough to be unsettling, not enough to make anything fall out. 3 nights ago, I tried staying at a hotel. I lay awake in the unfamiliar bed until 2:18 a.m. passed, feeling triumphant when no doorbell rang. But when I returned home the next day, I found my changes had accumulated in my absence, 3 of them. Every mirror was covered with a bath towel. All my clothes had been turned inside out in my dresser. The refrigerator had been unplugged, its contents now room temperature. 2 nights ago, I invited a friend to stay over, thinking maybe a witness would disrupt the pattern. We stayed up watching movies, and I didn't tell him what I was waiting for. At 2:17 a.m. exactly, the doorbell rang. He heard it too. We both checked the door, nothing. We searched the entire house together and found no intruders, no explanation. When he left the next morning, neither of us had noticed any changes, and I thought perhaps the cycle was broken. Then I found my toothbrush in the freezer, frozen solid in a cup of water. Last night, I was determined to catch whatever or whoever was causing this. I sat in the dark living room with a flashlight, my back against the front door. I reasoned that if someone was going to ring my doorbell, they'd have to get past me first. As 2:17 a.m. approached, my grip on the flashlight tightened. The house was completely silent except for the occasional creaking of the old wooden floors. I held my breath as the minute changed on my watch. The doorbell rang directly behind my head. I jumped forward, whirling around with my flashlight, but there was only the door, unchanged, undisturbed. No one could have reached the button without me feeling their presence, hearing their breath, sensing their movement. It was as if the doorbell had rung itself from the inside. This morning, the change was more personal than ever before. All the photos in my family album had been rearranged. Every picture that once contained my sister now showed only background, as if she'd been carefully cut out of each one. But the photos weren't damaged. There were no cut marks, no gaps. It was as if she'd never been there at all. My sister who died when I was 12. My sister whose bedroom became the guest room I now sleep in. Tonight will be the 24th night. It's 11:43 p.m. now as I write this. I've made my preparations. I've removed the doorbell completely, leaving exposed wires. I've salted the threshold, something my grandmother once told me keeps unwanted spirits out. I've placed religious symbols by every entrance, despite not being religious myself. I've even written a note and left it on the front porch. Please stop. Please tell me what you want. But I know none of this will work. At 2:17 a.m., the phantom doorbell will ring. I'll check the empty porch. And something in my house will change. I think I finally understand what's happening. These aren't random changes. They're messages. Each alteration points to something specific, something I've been trying not to remember. The circle of magnets on the refrigerator? My sister and I used to arrange them that way, pretending they were fairy rings. The color-coded shoes? She was obsessively organized about her footwear. The books turned backward? She used to hide her diary that way, spine in, on her bookshelf so I wouldn't find it. Each night, each change, has been leading me toward a specific day, a specific memory. The day my sister died. In this house. In what is now my bedroom. At 2:17 a.m. Tomorrow is the anniversary. I know what I'll find when I wake up tomorrow. The change will be in my room, her old room. Perhaps the furniture rearranged to match how it was when the room was hers. Or perhaps something more specific, more accusatory. Because I was there that night. I was the only one who heard her call for help. I was the one who was supposed to wake our parents when her breathing became labored, when her fever spiked. But I fell asleep. When I woke at dawn, she was already gone. For years, I convinced myself there was nothing I could have done. That even if I'd called for help, the severe pneumonia would have taken her anyway. But part of me has always wondered, what if? What if I'd stayed awake? What if I'd been more insistent with my parents earlier in the evening? What if I'd recognized how serious it was? The doorbell is her. It has always been her. Trying to wake me like I failed to wake our parents. Changing things in the house to remind me of her existence, her absence, my role in it all. It's 2:16 a.m. now. I'm sitting on the edge of my bed, waiting. I won't check the door tonight. I'll stay right here, in her room, and finally face what's coming. The doorbell rings. But this time, I don't move to check it. Instead, I say out loud to the empty room, I'm sorry. I should have saved you. The house falls silent. Completely silent. Even the usual settling noises of the old structure cease. The air feels heavy, expectant. And then, from the hallway, I hear footsteps. Light, padding footsteps like a child in socks. They stop outside my door. I close my eyes. I know it's you, I whisper. I know you've been trying to tell me something. The door slowly creaks open. I keep my eyes closed, afraid of what I might see, afraid of what I might not see. I'm ready to listen now, I say. I feel the mattress shift slightly, as if a small weight has settled beside me. A cold sensation brushes against my hand, not quite a touch, but an impression of one. I finally open my eyes. Nothing is there. But on the pillow next to mine, her pillow, in what was once her bed, lies a single item that wasn't there before. The last change, the 24th message. Her old inhaler. The one that might have eased her breathing that night. The one I'd been too afraid to look for after she died, afraid it would confirm my failure. I reach for it with shaking hands. As my fingers close around the plastic, I whisper, I understand now. The doorbell doesn't ring the next night. Or the night after. Or any night since. But sometimes, when I'm half asleep, I think I hear a child's laughter from the guest room. And each morning, I find one tiny thing changed. Not an accusation anymore. Just a reminder that I'm not alone.